Our people, it is a new dawn. Mr. President, we heard you loud and clear. The budget that you have glimpsed and heard before assuming office makes no room for fuel subsidy. Therefore, fuel subsidy is gone.
We head to the courts now, where the Independent National Electoral Commission, President Bola Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress have opposed the admission of documents tendered as evidence in the petition by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, challenging the victory of President Bola Tinubu. At the commencement of the day's proceedings, Mr. Abubakar, through his counsel, Chris Uche, told the court that the team had prepared a second schedule of documents to be tendered, adding that the documents were fully served on the parties involved. Our correspondent Emanuela Ekele reports that among the documents tendered by the petitioners are the certified true copies of Form EC8A downloaded by the INEC Electoral Commission from its results viewing portal, IREV.
It's day 2 of the definite hearing of the petitions of the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party at the Presidential Election Petition Court, challenging the victory of President Tinubu. The courtroom is bubbly as usual with lawyers and some party members. The presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, is now a regular face. Joining him is his vice, Dati Baba Ahmed. The first case called is that of the Labour Party. It could not go on, however, as the counsel, Awakalu, told the court that they had planned to call more witnesses and tender documents, but were constrained by some challenges, including the ill health of 2 key staff of the Secretariat, making it impossible for them to continue for the day. He asked for an adjournment to June 1st, which the court granted.
Unexpected developments at our Secretariat. That is where we take off from. And related to illness, and I can't give you the full details of the illness, but it's significant enough for me to ask for an adjournment. You understand what I mean? Yes. That will be here tomorrow.
Back in the courtroom, the second case is called the case of the People's Democratic Party. The tender certified true copies of Form EC8A downloaded by the Independent Electoral Commission from INEC Resulting Viewing Portal, IREV. They also tendered Forms EC8A for 8 local governments of Bayelsa State, 23 local governments of Kaduna State, 20 local governments of Ogun State, as well as 23 local governments of Kogi State. The petitioners further tendered Form EC40G for Kaduna State. This is the form where INEC imputes the number of all polling units that were cancelled or voters couldn't vote. Finally, they tendered the printout of beavers and accreditation data with details including timestamp for 33 states. The party called to deem the documents as read, pursuant to provisions of paragraphs 46A of the first schedule of the Electoral Act. For Kogi State, the respondents objected to the admission of all the documents in most of the local governments except Olamaboro, Ofu, Omala, Okehi, and Ajokuta. They also declined giving consent that the documents be deemed as read, having objected to their admissibility. Having tendered the documents, the chairman of the court, Justice Haruna Samani, admitted them as evidence.
What we have done today is to push in all the necessary documents, and you can see that all the documents we tendered today were certified true copies of documents from INEC, documents duly certified by them and authenticated by them. So we are now pushing in these documents. When we finish with this, then we'll proceed to calling our witnesses to provide oral testimony.
The court subsequently adjourned the case to June the 1st for continuation of hearing. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, National Legal Advisor of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, emerges party's new national chairman, promises an era of progressivism. We have that in a moment. Do join us again.
Honorable Duchess of the Market that keeps our belly full, Her Royal Highness, the one that turns hundreds into millions. We, your children you carried on your back, say thank you. Mama no dey sleep, no dey tire. The ever-efficient Chief Operations Officer, Bebe di Bebe, new media marketer, turning likes into credit alerts. Sweet babe, running a 9 to 5, yet still turning up for your people. Women are blooming with ideas, thriving in life and business. At Stanbic IBTC, we are cheering you on. Blue Blossom is for women who want to save, invest, and grow in life. Go bloom with Stanbic IBTC. Stanbic IBTC. It can be.
It's your turn. Now it's your turn. Now it's your turn. It's your turn.
Keep trending with the Glow Social Data Bundles. Dial *777# or buy via Glow Cafe.
The Duchess International Hospital opened its doors in October 2021. The mission of the hospital is to reverse medical tourism. We take particular care here at the Duchess to bring together a combination of the brightest and the best locally, as well as Nigerians in the diaspora who are interested in returning to do very good work for the benefit of our patients here in this country.
The good thing is that we had all international expertise here, all international facilities here, international people working here. Everything is coming together in a space which was considered not great in terms of the availability of healthcare.
Access Bank, of course, has been able to provide us with a robust range of products and services that has enabled us to deliver that standard and quality of healthcare that is integral to our mission as an organization.
Looking fresh for your dates? Get even fresher with Close Up. New Close Up Triple Fresh formula. It cleans deeply, fights 99% of bacteria, and cools intensely, keeping you protected and fresh.
Protected and fresh. Protected and fresh.
Let's take a picture.
Protected and fresh.
Still fresh, still protected.
Feeling cool and protected.
All day confident to get close.
Oh yeah, take it close up, close.
New Close Up Triple Fresh formula.
We don't like to eat better, more nutritious meals, more veggies, but we want it tasty and easy too. No cubes. That's the secret. Made with real ingredients like chicken, parsley, and garlic, and enriched with iron, so your meals are better for you and more delicious too. That's the cocoa. Let's give it some accolades. Change your world by changing what's on your plate.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Meeting between federal government and Nigerian Labour Congress over removal of fuel subsidy deadlocked. Labour insists on return to status quo pending outcome of negotiations. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited confirms increments in pump price of petrol across the country. Company says price will continue to fluctuate according to market dynamics. Presidential Election Petition Court admits Atiku Abubakar's evidence. INEC APC President Bola Tinubu kick against admission as court adjourns hearing of Peter Obi's case. And United States National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, holds its first public meeting on UFOs before a report on its finding is released. just before we continue with the news, we'd like to apologize profusely because just before the news at 10, we had a power outage and that affected some of our facilities and prevented the airing of the beginning a little bit of the initial part of the news on our DSTV platform. But be rest assured that you can catch that on our YouTube channel, our website as well. While we continue in the courts, the Federal High Court Abuja has held that the People's Democratic Party can either suspend or expel former Rivers State Governor Osun Wike as its member, but must comply with due process. Justice James Omotosho, while delivering judgment in the suit filed by Mr. Wike to stop the PDP from either suspending or expelling him without according him fair hearing, said that doing so without according him the right to defend himself would breach his fundamental rights as enshrined in the constitutions of the PDP and that of the country, while noting that although the court will not ordinarily dabble into the internal affairs of any political party, it can, where the right of a member was violated by the party without recourse to its own laws. Justice Omotosho adds that fundamental human rights are rights enshrined in the Constitution and are sacrosanct, and where these rights ought to be enforced, the court will do everything within its reach to ensure it is so. However, the rights are not absolute. The incumbent National Legal Advisor of the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA and Commissioner for Special Duties in Anambra State, Mr. Sly Ezeokenwa, has emerged the National Chairman of APGA. The event saw over 300 delegates from 6 geopolitical zones converge on the International Convention Center, Oka, for the exercise. It also marks the exit of the former National Chairman, Chief Victor Oye, after 8 years of service.
Over 300 delegates gather at the International Convention Center, Oka, in Anambra State for the 2023 National Convention of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. The main agenda is the election of national officers and members of the Board of Trustees of the party. APGA! The outgoing national chairman of APGA, Mr. Victor Oye, showers encomium on members as well as other national leaders of the party for their support over the years. He then proceeds to inform them of the importance of the assignment before them.
Our overall target has been to compete favorably with the 2 leading political parties in the country. Despite the machinations of some disgruntled elements or distractors, we remain focused and steadied the ship as it cruised through the turbulent waters.
30 candidates for the various positions in the party have earlier been unanimously adopted by the National Working Committee of the party, after which the delegates proceed to affirm their candidacy.
The national chairman as Barrister Sylvester Ezeokenwa.
Thereafter, Mr. Sly Ezeokenwa, the incumbent National Legal Advisor, emerges the national chairman of the party, with Ibrahim Mani picked as the national secretary. Next, the returning officer for the exercise, Mr. Ben Onugbolu, calls out the candidates and they are sworn in. Then the new chairman gives his acceptance speech.
APGA is today on the rise to a new level of excellence that will be powered by innovative and disruptive leadership. We are set to take APGA back to its real owners, the people.
Addressing the gathering, the governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, congratulates the new national officers, advising them to work towards making APGA a force to be reckoned with.
We have demonstrated very peaceful, transparent, very peaceful transfer of power from the outgoing National Working Committee to a new one. Sworn in. APGA, the future is here. It's a party for the masses. It's a party for the common man. It's a party for Nigerian youths.
With the convention out of the way, these new national officers of APGA are expected to hit the ground running.
And staying with party politics, the APC National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, has advised governors elected on the party's platform to settle down to work and bring good governance to the people of their state. The APC Chairman was speaking when some governors of the party met with members of the National Working Committee in Abuja. Some of the governors in attendance include Mohammed Bago of Niger, Senator Obasani of Kaduna, Inua Yahya of Gombe, Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa, and Yahya Bello of Kogi State. Also in attendance, the APC National Secretary, Senator Iyola Omisore, as well as other members of the NWC. At the meeting, the Yobe State Governor, Mai Mala Buni, introduced his Imo State counterpart, Hope Uzodinma, as the new chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum. And we're back in the court where the Osun State High Court sitting in Osogbo has sentenced Ms. Adedeji Adeshola, the receptionist that received late Timothy Adegoke when he lodged at the Hilton Honors Hotel, Ile-Ife, in the evening of November 6, 2021, to 2 years in prison for altering the receipt issued to the deceased. Adeshola's sentence was pronounced at the sitting of the court by the Osun State Chief Judge. She was said to have fabricated another receipt for the purpose of concealing traces of Adegoke's lodgement at the hotel. The presiding judge had on Tuesday found Adeshola guilty of doctoring the hotel receipt issued to the deceased, fabricating another, and concealing of evidence charged against her. She further said the 2 years should start from the first day she was detained since the commencement of the matter. Let's head to our Abuja studios for more stories. Gloria is waiting. Hi, Gloria. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Millicent. We'll begin with the National Assembly in Abuja, where the Senate has finally passed through second reading the Gender and Equality Opportunities Bill, which seeks to eliminate all forms of discrimination against women and people living with disabilities. At today's sitting, the Senate also asked the executive to use supplementary budget to meet emergencies instead of service-wide vote. This is one of the recommendations passed by the Senate after examining a report from its Public Accounts Committee, which investigated the expenditure of service-wide votes by federal government agencies from 2017 to 2021. Our National Assembly correspondent, Linda Akigbe, reports.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Public Accounts, presents a highly awaited report of its investigation into the expenditure of service-wide votes by federal government agencies from 2017 to 2021. This is the first time the Senate is beaming its searchlight on the utilization of service-wide votes, which is a major component of a nation's yearly budget, where a lump sum of money is kept to tackle unforeseen expenditure, both for recurrent and capital. According to the committee chairman, members discovered several infractions by government agencies in the use of the funds during its investigations.
There was a steady rise in the disbursement from service-wide vote from 887 billion in 2017 to over 1.93 trillion in 2021. So the NDA did not make formal request for the money, but was sent to them by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation.
To prevent these financial infractions and ensure transparency in the administration of the service-wide votes, the Public Accounts Committee recommends that the executive should limit the release of service-wide votes to recurrent emergencies or shortfalls genuinely desired with satisfactory proof.
That NDAs must strictly ensure that funds released from service-wide votes are applied for specific purpose of request and release. The Auditor General for the Federation should be given full access by the Accountant General for the Federation and other MDAs to audit service-wide vote expenditures annually and report to the National Assembly, either as part of annual report, that is Auditor General report, or a special report.
They also recommend an in-depth investigation into the operations of IPIS to stem the rising cases of irregularities in the system. Meanwhile, the Senate has finally passed through second reading the Gender and Equality Opportunities Bill, which seeks to eliminate all forms of discrimination against women and people living with disabilities. In December 2021, Senator Biodun Olujimi was asked to withdraw the proposed legislation after some of her colleagues argued that the bill is against their socio-cultural and religious beliefs.
the concerns and views related to this text of the previous Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill have been largely addressed through deep sectoral consultations with faith and culture institutions and leaders, youths, and media and women's groups across Nigeria.
The Senate thereafter sent the bill to its Committee on Judiciary and Legal Matters. However, it is unlikely that the bill will be passed by both houses, as there are just a few days left to the expiration of the 9th Assembly. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Debt Management Office set to raise about 300 billion naira for the federal government as it issues 3 new bonds in June. That's in Business News. So join us again.
Oh, I wish you were here.
I'm always with you.
But it's not the same without you.
MTN 5G's amazing technology will change how we experience life and the internet. Get ready to encounter the incredible. And remember, no be juju, na MTN 5G.
Recover with Astamin, a blend of amino acids and multivitamins.
Enjoy every moment with the goodness of Valletta sparkling fruit drink. Available in 75cl and 37.5cl bottles and comes in red grape, white grape, and peach variants. Another product of premium quality from Intercontinental Distillers Limited, IDL. Valletta sparkling fruit drink. Celebrate every moment.
Valletta!
Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television. The Nigerian Aviation Handling Company PLC is lamenting the negative impact of multiple exchange rates on the aviation sector. The chairman, NACO PLC, Dr. Osun Fadeni, made the statement during an exclusive interview with Channels Television in Abuja. He also weighed in on the fuel queues resurfacing across the country. He described fuel subsidy as an element of fraud which should have been removed a long time ago.
Established in 1979 as the Nigerian Aviation Handling Company and renamed after its privatization in 2005 as the Nigerian Aviation Handling Company, NACO PLC provides aviation cargo, aircraft handling, passenger facilitation services, amongst others, to about 35 airlines across 7 airports in the country.
Basically, is
the chairman of NACO, Dr. Osun Fadeni, highlights stellar achievements of the company.
There was increase about 41% increase in our tariff, but it was well managed because the cost also increased. So we are trying to also cope the ecosystem to do some other things that can increase our revenue.
The company had its 42nd annual general meeting on Friday, May the 26th, where some of the achievements of NACO PLC were highlighted. The shareholders were pleased with the progress made, but the chairman believes the company could have done better.
About 4 or 5 years ago, an equipment that you can buy for maybe about 500 million naira. As of today, we buy them almost 1.5 billion. So it's basically because of the exchange rate, the dollar rate. So that is a challenge for us. And then government policies takes 5% of our revenue, not profits. And yet we still have to pay government taxes and all those things.
The fuel subsidy statement by President Bola Tinubu on May 29th has resulted in fuel queues resurfacing across the country. Speaking on this subject matter, Chairman NACO PLC is of the opinion that fuel subsidy stalls the progress of other sectors in the country.
The truth of the matter is that what are we even subsidizing? That's just it. And who is the one gaining from this subsidy? Is it the masses or the rich? I mean, the truth of the matter is that it should have gone a long time because it's also an element of fraud.
With a high performance recorded by NACO PLC in 2022, the management hopes to sustain this achievement and is optimistic that the current administration will resolve the challenges plaguing the aviation sector.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. It's back to you, Millicent.
Thanks, Gloria. And to some company news. As part of activities to celebrate the one-year anniversary of Momo's PSB's launch in Nigeria, operators of the mobile money agent service have held a trade fair at the Eagles Club, Surulere, Lagos. The Momo Trade Fair aims to spread word on how Momo agents can help provide safe and accessible money transfer services to the unbanked in Nigeria.
It's 1 year of Momo Payment Service Bank, a subsidiary of MTN, being the go-to mobile financial solution for Nigerians, and this trade fair is to celebrate the journey so far. It was all fun and excitement to the Eagles Club in Surulere, as Momo agents and customers not only get to experience fast and seamless transactions with Momo, they also enjoy amazing discounts with food, games, music, and lots more.
Momo is for everyone. I think what is important for us is to ensure that everybody's financially included by exploring ways we can partner with different stakeholders. One of the key challenges for financial inclusion is the onboarding process of people into the financial system, and Momo is ready to address that. How do we do that? Anyone who has a phone today can use Momo. All you need to do is basically for a prospective customer to dial *671#, and that's it. You become a Momo customer.
With Momo, customers don't need to have a bank account to send or receive money. All that is required is a visit to a Momo agent to make a transaction, and users of the service testify to Momo's features.
I actually heard about it through Instagram, and one of the amazing things about them is the fact that the transaction is smooth, very easy to use. Like, you can get the money immediately once you get payment from your customers.
Momo app is valuable in a way that you are very, very sure that nobody is running away with your money. If anything comes up, you know where to go. You have an office to go to.
I will have to say that they have the fastest services I've experienced when it comes to payment. You get it within a second. It's really, really fast. And the only downturn is that it's not really popular yet. But I really wish they could work on that. And it's been excellent so far.
The Momo Trade Fair 2023 served as an opportunity to not only celebrate the one-year anniversary of Momo PSB's launch in Nigeria, but also to spread word to everyone to start the journey of Momo.
Better than cash.
As part of its strategic moves to boost trade and investment between Nigeria and France, Axis Bank PLC, one of Nigeria's biggest financial service institutions, has launched the Axis Bank French Business Desk. The launch is in partnership with the government of France with the aim of promoting stronger business and bilateral relationship between Axis Bank and Business France.
With a lot of excitement, we talk about our Axis Bank French desk.
A significant milestone in Axis Bank's drive to continue supporting the efforts of Nigeria and France. And this official launch of the Axis Bank French Business Desk is geared towards ensuring the growth and prosperity of small, medium and large-scale companies. The bank says, among other things, the desk will provide enhanced services and support to French businesses and individuals operating in Nigeria.
It's an extremely important platform for us and will serve as a vital link between Business France, Propaco, AFD, and other multilateral organizations. It will provide tailored support and guidance to French businesses operating in Nigeria, as well as Nigerian businesses seeking to expand their presence in France.
It's a collaboration that also draws praises from the Minister of State for Development, Francophonie and International Partnerships.
This French desk that can make easier also the engagement of the private sector, of the big French firms that can come and invest. It is important that we can work together. We have many challenges, but we have also together the solution.
Highlight of the launch is the signing ceremony, which signals a bilateral strategic partnership between Axis Bank and Business France. And a moment to network.
The bank has grown through partnerships, and we've leveraged those partnerships to support our customers and offer real value that is distinctive and makes a difference in the lives of our customers. So what this is yet another opportunity to grow partnership.
This alliance signifies Axis Bank's commitment to foster stronger economic ties between Nigeria and France. The bank says it will also serve as a bridge in facilitating business opportunities, promote trade and bilateral investment between Nigeria and France.
Well, staying with some company news, Budweiser, a brand of International Breweries PLC and official beer sponsors of the Premier League, they've thrilled football lovers to an evening of entertainment with musical performance and other fun activities. Budweiser Premier League #Budfest is one of the activities organized by the brand to celebrate football fans, especially as the league winds down.
It's an evening of music and football as Budweiser Nigeria thrills football fans to an exciting time across major cities. The keenly contested English Premier League is over, and lovers of the beautiful game of football get to sit together to watch the final match of the season. There are also games lined up as part of activities for the event, but the highlight of the night was the musical performances by top-rated artists.
There's more to come. Budweiser will continue to thrill consumers. The partnership with the Premier League
is a multi-year partnership, and we'll continue to ensure that as consumers love football, Budweiser will always be there to ensure that they enjoy the beautiful game.
We're celebrating all the Premier League fans, not just the winners, but every single league, every single team in the league, and every single fan within the league is being celebrated here today. So the idea for this event is basically just to show like the perfect party that rounds off the final season of the Premier League.
The brand prides itself as the world's biggest brewer, creating iconic and meaningful experiences for people to come together without boundaries, and this is just one way to show it.
It's a little bit disappointing for an Arsenal fan like myself that Man City won the league, but what the Budfest does is it brings together music and football as well, which is what we're actually known for with Budweiser as well. So it's lots of refreshments. It's easy for me to be an ambassador for the brand. The fact that they do lots of things that involve the sporting aspects of life and also entertainment. So for me, it's been a pleasure working with the brand for sure.
Budweiser Nigeria is set to continue to recognize and reward the contribution of football fans to the game and inspire them to continue to share moments together.
All right now we will be taking you back to some of our stories. We know that a lot of you on DSTV who missed the initial part of the news, and this was due to the power outage. We're beginning from the very first story, which we read at the drop of 10 o'clock. And we're beginning with the top story, that the meeting between the federal government and the labor unions over the fuel subsidy removal, it ended without a consensus. Now, that meeting, it began around 4 p.m. at the presidential villa. It had in attendance representatives of the federal government. The governor of the central bank was there, the NNPCL group CEO, the former NLC president, Adams Oshiomhole, members, of course, of the Nigeria Labour Congress were there as well, and president of the TUC. And after several hours, the NLC demanded that the federal government go back to status quo, that is, reverse the price of fuel before resuming negotiations with the unions.
Barely 24 hours after the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited welcomed President Bola Tinubu's decision to halt fuel subsidy following the country's inability to continue payment, the federal government convened a meeting with the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress at the presidential villa. After several hours of meeting behind closed doors, the NLC did not hide their dissatisfaction as the meeting apparently ends in a deadlock.
As far as Labour is concerned, we didn't have a consensus in this meeting. You don't put the partner, ask him to negotiate under gunpoint. If we agree for a meeting by 2 today, and in the morning, you come out with price modulation, how can you fix price in a deregulated market? The prayers of NLC is that we go back to status quo, negotiate, think of alternatives, and all the effects and how to manage the effects this action is going to have on the people. If it is an action that must take off.
In April, the previous administration had announced an 800 million naira palliative ahead of subsidy removal, but the NLC is not impressed with the arrangement.
Yeah, so there is nothing that has been concluded. That is why we are reconvening. So there was nothing that was concluded. So that is why we will reconvene again. If we had met before, before now, we could have proposed a lot of things. Just as the CNG has said, we have experts in our midst who could have profiled some solutions.
Meanwhile, the federal government is determined to continue talks.
We had a very robust engagement. We cross-fertilized ideas. Ideas flew from all sides. And there's one thing that is remarkable, even from the Labour side, and that is Nigeria. We are looking at the peace, progress, and stability of Nigeria. And that is what is paramount. We cannot go into any details now because talks are still ongoing.
The Nigeria Labour Congress has decided to reconvene with her members to determine their next line of action. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Well, before that meeting, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, had announced an increase in the pump price per litre of fuel at its retail stations across the country, and that's according to a statement signed by the Chief Corporate Communications Officer. Now, the price change takes immediate effect and will continue to fluctuate according to market dynamics. The statement adds that the company will ensure a ceaseless supply of the product. However, it did not state the exact price for the new regime, but visits to some of their outlets indicate that the price per litre is ranging from 488 naira to 540 naira per litre. Well, here's a report now of how much petrol is selling in Lagos between 488 and 530. Motorists are already apprehensive at the increase.
Long queues are what you see whenever there's fuel scarcity, and no less of the expectation in the aftermath of President Bola Tinubu's pronouncement of subsidy removal on petrol. 2 days after the announcement, queues around filling stations in Lagos persist, causing gridlock on connecting roads. Agitations ensue amidst panic buying, especially when motorists cannot predict what the marketer would come up with regarding the pump price or its availability after hours of waiting. That's what plays out at a corn oil outlet in Ikeja.
Most people are even stranded. I can't even go home since yesterday, just because my fuel, there's not even fuel in my car again. So I have to park, bring up a cake to buy.
This morning, again, when they got here, they started selling at 185. Then all of a sudden, they just stopped and they said the price has increased 488. So we don't know the reason for that. And presently, they are not selling. We are just here hoping they are going to sell. And we are just hoping they will sell for the normal price and not 500.
From 185 naira official pump price, corn oil and others now sell a litre of petrol at 489 naira, an option some find difficult to cope with.
It's better I park my car somewhere and when everything comes down, I know what next to do. So I can't cope with it. For now, I can't cope.
So, wherever you find a lesser crowd, the pump price is apparently increased. Marketers selling at the official rates have to contend with crowds of anxious motorists.
I traveled a lot and I've been to, even all the 4 contestants they were of the same opinion that they are going to remove subsidy. To the best of my knowledge, subsidy is a scam. You understand? And the better we get it right, the good for us as a Nigerian.
Even though some commuters have reduced at bus stops and motor parks as a result of high cost of transportation, inter- and intrastate fare is soaring.
I'm going to Akwanjo, and for me to get to Ikeja, get to Akwanjo, I have to pass through Ikeja alone. So getting a vehicle now, the one I got is telling me 800 from here to Dobemu.
480. I buy today in NNPC in Korodu. Before Majidon, we are carrying 300. Last week, 300 naira. Today now, we are carrying 500.
In spite of what is playing out at the instance of the fuel subsidy removal, many are optimistic about its benefit in the long run. However, a new price regime is here, a reality Nigerians should be ready to cope with.
Well, while some disagree and are mixed about it, the natives, a civil society group, they've thrown their weight behind the policy. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the leader, Mr. Smart Edwards, says no nation can consistently allow 400 billion naira to be expended monthly in the name of fuel subsidy without impoverishing a great number of the people.
The policies that will shape our country, shape our living and our beings are being rolled out, and there is no better time to participate than now. Forget where you stood in the time of the election. It is time to stand in defense of country. I can only call on all and sundry to come on board for hope is here. The first burden on the nation is to free the nation from those that held us bound by fleecing our resources and impoverishing our people. It is a new dawn. Mr. President, we heard you loud and clear. The budget that you have glimpsed and heard before assuming office makes no room for fuel subsidy. Therefore, fuel subsidy is gone.
Away from the issue of the fuel subsidy, President Bola Tinubu today met with the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdulrasheed Bawa, as well as the chief executive officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari. Emerging from the private meeting in the president's office, the EFCC boss declined to give details of the meeting, but simply told the media that he was there to brief the president. Meanwhile, the president also held a bilateral meeting with the special envoy of the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, and vice chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, Peng Qinhua. The Chinese president, represented by the vice chairperson Standing Committee, said the two countries at present have good bilateral relations and economic cooperation, noting that Chinese companies were doing well in Nigeria in railways, roads, hydropower, and free trade zones, while commending President Tinubu's plan to lead Nigeria to a new era of economic development and prosperity. The Chinese envoy, however, said there were areas where Nigeria could benefit from China. We would like to thank you for your understanding and patience. Tonight's News at 10 will be extended, and this is because of the problem at the beginning of the news, where we failed to bring some of the stories on our DSTV platform. But now it's time for business news. Here's Joke Rogers.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you so much, Millicent. Welcome to Business News. The Debt Management Office has confirmed that it will issue 3 new bonds in June, a departure from its previous plan to reopen old bonds. The new bonds, which range from 10 to 30 years, are expected to raise between 240 billion and 300 billion naira. According to the DMO, to the revised calendar published by the DMO, there will be an issuance of a new 10-year paper, 15-year and 30-year bonds, from which it hopes to raise between 80 billion naira to 100 billion naira each. Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio rose to 10.86% by the end of 2021, after hovering around 5% to 6% in the last 12 years. Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Muhammad Nami, says the new ratio is the result of a joint review by the National Bureau of Statistics and the Revenue Service in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Finance, using data from 2010 to 2021.
We've done a lot of reforms, which are currently impacting positively on business processes. Secondly, the subnationals too, the states and the local government revenue authorities are also playing their own very important part in making sure that they make money available to state government governance. So in addition to that, what has changed ideally is the fact that before now, myself and everybody in the country continue to complain that we have multiplicity of taxes, that Nigerians are overtaxed, according to some people in some quarters, yet there is little in the hand of the government. We try to see what we can do to block these leakages to make sure that the multiplicity and the leakages in tax systems are blocked.
And the local equities market remained in the green zone today as the all-share index inched up by 0.06%. A lot happened to maintain this positive trend, as Adjournment reports.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, investor sentiment flipped on Wednesday at the NGX. I guess it's just natural that profit-taking follows an overwhelming profitable day. However, a 0.4% gain on MTN, bringing the share price to 251, made a huge difference. And that difference was enough to keep the ball on the floor. So looking at a positive 0.06 all-share index, it means that 17 billion naira has been added to the total market value, but that's a far cry from what we had yesterday, 1.5 trillion naira. But we'll still celebrate the little wins, and we're still doing the 55,000 there, 55,769.28, and the market cap is still at 30 trillion naira. Now, let's go to the sectors. The most liquid counter that was really glowing yesterday did not miss the hammer today. It's down 2.46% because all the figures, they lost it. Profit taking took that away from them, but we still have some positives, and that's oil and gas, 1.63. MRS, O&O, they did very well today. And looking at the consumer goods, we also see that it's also in the green more than 2%. A negative market breadth, a slim marginal gain on the market compared to what we had yesterday, but still a gain anyways. Well, let's see how long this profiting season will last, or if the coin will flip again. That's the Stock Market Report. I'm Adjournment. Back to you, Joke.
Thank you so much, indeed. Let's see how the rest of the week goes. Well, let's also see how other major global stock markets performed today. That's business news. Back to you, Millicent.
So simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first. First Bank.
Thank you, Joke. And you're watching an extended version of the news at 10 tonight. On the international scene, a NASA panel investigating unidentified flying objects has collected around 800 mysterious reports, but only a small fraction are truly unexplained, researchers say. Well, here's Simon Pusey with more in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. North Korea has said an accident happened as it planned to send up its first space satellite, causing it to crash into the sea. Pyongyang announced earlier it planned to launch a satellite by the 11th of June to monitor US military activities. It now says it will attempt a second launch as soon as possible. The launch sparked a false alarm in the South Korean capital Seoul, while in Japan a warning was issued to residents of Okinawa in the south. A fire that broke out at the Afipsky oil refinery in Russia's Krasnodar region was likely caused by a drone, that's according to the region's governor. The fire was extinguished and there were no casualties, according to officials. Surveillance video caught the moment the fire broke out. There was no immediate information on who launched the drone, but Russia has accused Ukraine of increasing attacks on targets inside the country. The United Nations has started an operation to remove 1.1 million barrels of oil from a decaying supertanker moored off Yemen's Red Sea coast. A salvage vessel with a crew of experts have reached the FSO Safer. They will undertake work to make it secure for oil to be transferred to another tanker, the Nautica, which is due to sail from Djibouti next month. There is an imminent risk that the Safer could explode or break apart, causing an environmental catastrophe. The UN has so far raised $114 million to pay for the unprecedented project through donations from dozens of member states, private companies, and even the general public. United States Secretary General has urged Turkey to immediately finalize Sweden's accession to NATO, saying the Nordic country had already taken significant steps to address Ankara's objections to its membership. Addressing a joint press conference with the Swedish Prime Minister, Antony Blinken said Washington was going to continue to work to complete Sweden's accession in time for a mid-July NATO summit that will bring together the heads of state of the alliance.
Sweden, again and again, has proven its commitment to NATO, to its values, to its mission, to its members. A strong, vibrant democracy with highly capable forces that have been working shoulder to shoulder with NATO members for years, for decades. It is fully dedicated to upholding the commitments that underpin our alliance, including Article 5. By joining NATO, Sweden undertakes a commitment to the security of every other ally. No one should doubt that commitment. And of course, every other ally will be committed to Sweden's security.
NATO peacekeeping troops in Kosovo have placed metal fences and barbed wire barriers in a northern town following clashes that have seen dozens of international soldiers and protesters injured. The barriers were erected after hundreds of ethnic Serbs started gathering in front of the city hall in the northern Kosovo town, 45 kilometers north of the capital Pristina. It's after NATO said it will send 700 extra troops to try to curb the violence in Kosovo, a day after 30 alliance-led peacekeeping soldiers and more than 50 ethnic Serbian protesters were injured in clashes. Earlier, the European Commission President called for calm.
Recent tensions are, of course, concerning. I call on all sides to step away from confrontation and to take measures to restore calm.
The UN Security Council has renewed an arms embargo and sanctions imposed on South Sudan for an additional year, including asset freezes and travel bans on some individuals. The Council voted with 10 votes in favour and 5 members abstaining. It directed all UN member states to prevent the direct or indirect supply, sale or transfer of arms to South Sudan. The arms embargo was extended until May next year, with the Council expressing concern over the continued intensification of violence. And finally, Tesla's Chief Executive Officer Elon Musk has kicked off his second day in China with a visit to the country's Commerce Ministry. Musk left his hotel accompanied by Tesla's China-based Public Affairs Chief Grace Tao and Head of Global Manufacturing Tom Zhu. Musk's car was later seen parked outside the Commerce Ministry. He is expected to meet other senior Chinese officials and visit the US electric vehicle maker's Shanghai plant later in the week, though it was not clear who exactly he would meet or what issues they would discuss. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel's studios in Lagos.
Again, thanks for staying with us. This is the extended version of News at 10. Let's talk sports now. Spanish side Sevilla, Europa League champions after beating Roma 4-1 via penalties to win the tournament. Both sides could not be separated even after extra time as the game was tied at 1-1. Sevilla have now won the Europa League 7 times. World number 1, Carlos Alcaraz has booked his spots in the third round for a third consecutive year at the Roland Garros after his recovery from a mid-match dip in the French capital. The top seed has suffered a loss of concentration in the second set against Taro Daniel, but he quickly improved his level to advance past the Japanese star 6-1, 3-6, 6-1, 6-2.
C'est les matchs Alcaraz. 3-1, 6-1, 3-6.
Congratulations to Sevilla. Millicent is back to you.
Thanks, Jeffrey. And the main news again. We told you that the meeting between the federal government and the Nigeria Labour Congress over the removal of fuel subsidy was deadlocked today, with the Labour Union insisting on returning to status quo pending the outcome of negotiations. And would like to apologize once again and thank you for staying tuned to Channels Television, your home for the news. That's the news tonight. Thanks again for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.
Hello and welcome. It's another edition of Kaleidoscope on Channels Television. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'm Anne Nwawadu. On Kaleidoscope today,